Judith Blacklock and I've got a flower school in London. I've written 11 best-selling books. I'm the editor of a wonderful magazine called The Flower Ranger. I believe I can teach anyone. All you need is a love, a passion for flowers, and I can teach you the rest. I'm going to show you how to make a wreath using silk flowers. And it's very, very simple. What I like to start with is a charming rustic base, because when you use silk flowers, you will be leaving part of the wreath exposed. So if you've got something with a good texture and an interesting detailing on it, all so much the better. The first thing you need to do when creating a wreath design is to create a hanging. And for this, I like to use a bind wire product from Smithers Oasis, which is really, really good. And if you don't have this product, which is actually raffia covered wire, just use garden twine in green or in brown. And this is great, much better than string, because string has got a smooth texture and it slips, but this is just great. So I'm going to use the bind wire and a length about this, not too much, but always measure where you're going to hang it and then get the appropriate hang that you require. You can either take, for extra security, over the entire wreath and then just knot. This is the joy of using the bind wire, because it doesn't slip, it stays very rigorously in place. So like that, and then make a loop of the appropriate size. So that is very simple. Once that's in place, you can start and assess your silk flowers. And it's very important that you choose the right shapes. A wreath is a circular form, and therefore it's very important to have some of the flowers on this wreath that also have a circular form. Hydrangeas are great. I've just cut this one ready to go, but I want to show you how to cut. Ideally, you need a pair of wire cutters. But if you haven't got them, what I do so that you don't destroy your scissors is to take the scissors and to cut through the plastic that surrounds the wire stem. I like to cut it not too short, because then you have got the possibility of using these silk flowers in another design, perhaps at a later point. So I take and I go round the stem and I cut the plastic. I then, just with the hands, manipulate it, bend it a few times, and it will break off. And that's very easy to use. Now I would need 3 or 5 of these round strong forms to give uniformity. And I place them at regular intervals. We're going to tuck them in through. Now this just takes a little bit of time, but if you've got leaves, do leave the leaves on, because they do add interest. And you'll notice the stem that I've cut, we've got 2 leaves left on it. That costs money, not a good idea to throw them away. So we're going to take the leaves off and add those into the design and tuck it well down. Now, if you wanted to, it's often a good idea to actually use a glue gun and to glue these in position. Then you're sure that they're going to stay nice and firm. But it's not essential. You can tuck it in like this, and then of course, you can use it again in another design. But don't throw them away, because they really are useful. And this is mentioned, this is one I did earlier. Place it equidistant. So 1, 2, 3, and see how easily that just goes through into the wreath. And then we're going to take a third one. Oh, missing leaf, we're going to use that one as well. And frame the flowers by the foliage. And another good thing about using the leaves, let me just show you, is rather than placing them on the wreath flat, manipulate them so that they've got a little bit of movement and look much more natural. So I'll tuck that one in there, and then get the third hydrangea, and this time I'm going to show you how to use the wire cutters, and just go in there. Now that was easy, and place it through into the wreath. Now there is one tip I'd like to say to you here. When you've got a strong round shape, keep it centrally onto the wreath. If you place it so that the eye is going out of the wreath, it always disturbs the eye. The eye goes off looking, instead of being contained within the wreath itself and within the circle. So the next thing, I'm going to add the last 2 leaves, manipulate it, put it in, get that movement and rhythm, and add extra interest. And tuck that one in there, one last leaf to go. Now, as you will see at the moment, you've got 3 rather dominant flowers. You need to fill in the spaces between with something else to give added interest. And to keep the colours tonal, I've got these rather nice berries, and I'm going to show you how to break it up into small pieces. I've also got this, which is a Hypericum berry, really rather nice, want to use those leaves. I've got some artichokes, which I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use yet, but I thought they were rather interesting, and again, fits the season. And lastly, I've got some glycerined beech, which is very long lasting because it's been treated with glycerine, and you can tuck it in there and it will again, very inexpensive way of adding interest and plant material to your wreath. Down like that. Do get good quality wire cutters. If you buy good quality, it really does make your life easier, and they're going to last. And watch your fingers, health and safety as always. Make sure that you don't cut into your fingers as you work with your plant material. So in there, I say a little bit of glue if you want it, just to give a little bit more security, like this. And you can get artificial flowers from so many sources today. They don't have to be expensive. You can make them look great if you've got this good wreath frame. Everything looks that little bit better. So take those down. And I've got 2 more here, so I'm going to add them here. It doesn't have to be exactly the same all the way around, but you want to get good visual weight going all the way around. And then, should I use those? Yes, I think they work quite well with the wire cutters. Take in. And these I would, at a later stage, I am going to actually glue in. So take those, strong shape, so into the design rather than pointing outwards. And so there you are, you have a lovely wreath, and it's a large one too, with a hanging that you can take from any door inside. Always put a silk flower hanging wreath inside rather than outside, because of course the weather would not be too kind to it.